Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, HollywoodShono here, about to give you another Injustice Gods Among Us video as we hit day number 879. In this video, I'd like to talk about a couple things that Injustice 2 needs to incorporate within their game. Now, there are a couple elements that I really like about the system currently in Injustice Gods Among Us. As far as gear goes, I think this is one system that they don't need to change unless they just increase the maximum number of stuff. What I really like about the system for gear, for example, is that you have gear with set properties. A lot of them have properties for set characters. Some of them work for everything. Like, for example, a militarized Batmobile is a Batman gear item outside of the maximum health increase. So I think that having 4-star gear specifically tailored to characters is pretty cool, but you need to have this gear for everybody and not just Batman. Now, of course, there's also gear items like the Cloak of Destiny, which I find amazing. And also the way you actually upgrade said gear items is pretty cool, because you take your gear, you shatter the gear, and then you use the gear and the credits to upgrade existing gear. I think this is one system that they need to leave in place. I think that everything they do with that is perfect, where you have to buy gear with credits, or you can get it in multiplayer matchups. So that aspect is cool. One thing that I really do hope that they change is the way that you actually promote your guys and leveling. Well, I think that the Elite 7 system is kind of cool, and the level 50 cap is okay to a point. I don't think that is the good way of doing it. Now, we're going to be talking about this momentarily in another game called Gods of Rome, which we're going to tune into right now. Alright, so in Gods of Rome, one of the things that I really like about the way the upgrades are handled in this game, for example, you have multiple ranks on a certain star fighter. Now, this is one thing that I really wish that they would incorporate in Injustice Gods Among Us. You have your Tier 4 fighters. Let's say you have a Prometheus. Let's go with Red Class. You have a Tier 3 Prometheus. You have a Tier 2 Prometheus. And you also have a 1-star Prometheus available as well. I think this aspect would be a little bit more flexible. It would allow for NetherRealm to include, say, bronze, gold, silver, and platinum versions of every card, with the 4-star versions being the only style that actually has like multiple names, like, say, Insurgency Batman, Red Sun Deathstroke, Regime Killer Frost, Regime Ares, and anything like that. So you would have your base 1, 2, and 3-star versions of every card. I think this is a pretty cool aspect, because you're not going to have, for example, a bronze Superman in Injustice Gods Among Us 1. Well, now in Injustice 2, you have that option by going this route. Now, I do not agree with the way Gods of Rome handles 4-star fighters. I think it's a little bit too extreme, and it's super hard to actually get 4-star fighters from events. So I really hope that they keep multiplayer the way it is in Injustice Gods Among Us, because I think it's pretty fair and balanced. While there are a couple aspects that I do find a little bit punishing, like going up against higher level opponents when you're not using maxed out cards, but in this type of PvP it does the same thing. Now, to actually upgrade said fighters, you actually need materials from special events. So Injustice Gods Among Us could either incorporate special events to actually get said items. Like, for example, you need a Nectar Tier 3 in order to upgrade Massinista to rank 3 of 5. You would also need a Class Nectar Tier 3, which might be a little bit extreme. And then you also have your Special Nectar, which you have to fight in multiplayer events. And this would give the basic multiplayer events a little bit more reason to actually do them, because you could farm the multiplayer events and get about, say, 6,000 credits per 5 fights. Or you could do 2 battles of Bonus Battle 6. You could also do 20 fights in Bonus Battle 6 and get a gear locker. Whereas if you're playing multiplayer, you have to put a lot more effort into it. So I think that by combining some of the elements in Gods of Rome, along with another game that we'll be talking about momentarily, it'll be pretty cool. And also, one thing that I also hate about Injustice Gods Among Us, and we're going to talk about this in our next game. Now, I've been playing this game called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Legends. Some of you guys might have actually seen me do a YouTube video on it a few days ago, how I beat Krang, the boss, in the Out of the Shadows event. Well, what I like about the way Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Legends handles their game is that every stage, every battle has a purpose. In Injustice Gods Among Us, you really only have to do battles 5, 18, 25, 32, 36, bonus battle 6, bonus battle 7, and in some cases, bonus battle 5. The reason this aspect of the game is pretty cool, and I hope this is something that Injustice 2 incorporates, is that every stage get a different reward. I think Injustice Gods Among Us 2 could stand to have a premium currency, kind of like Mortal Kombat X in Souls. This game actually has 2 premium currencies because there's also a thing called warp passes. So if you 3-star an event by not losing any fighters in the event, and it could even be the same way in Injustice Gods Among Us 2. I don't think they need to incorporate that. I think you should just play the game and not skip any fights. But the way this game actually comes into play, you could spend 10 minutes farming the Krang of Command event and Out of the Shadows because it takes 7 overall fights to do it. Or you can skip it for 6 warp passes and then you'll get a movie character. So for example, we're going to go into some other battles. So in Chapter 1, you have a chance to get loot and you have a chance to get a DNA for Spider Bites. You can also get loot and DNA for Chris Bradford, loot and DNA for Casey Jones, yada yada. In Chapter 2, for example, you can get your first gold card, which is Metalhead, and those of you guys playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Legends, once you unlock this, you need to be farming for this immediately. While you can take April O'Neil and Casey Jones and get them up, you need to get a 3-star character, as that's the only way you can get through the PvP. And once you get to Chapter 4, you can actually get your second gold character, which is Razar. And again, same thing. You need to be focusing on him. Now, for the roster in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Legends, as you can see, I have a 4-star Metalhead. What I also like about this game is that in Injustice Gods Among Us, you can pay 100,000 credits and max out all your skills. In this game, you actually have to find materials from each of the stages. As you can see here, Tournament. You can also get it in the multiplayer event or also in card packs. So I think that this aspect is really cool because it gives you a more natural feel for upgrading your fighters. Yes, you can bank a lot of the earlier stuff, like you have that, but there's going to be some materials that you obviously can't get. And there's a level cap for actually upgrading the skills. I think that's something that Injustice Gods Among Us should also consider incorporating. Even if they don't do this, you have to have guys at a certain level to upgrade their skills, maybe 5 levels per skill. I don't think stopping these abilities at 6 ranks is really good. I think it should go a little bit higher than that, unless there's a way to evolve skills and add like a second property. I haven't actually gotten a skill up to tier 6 to do that, but I do have the capabilities of farming all the materials if I put my mind to it. But I think that by incorporating that, Injustice Gods Among Us could actually benefit quite a bit, considering that now you actually have to farm materials from every stage rather than doing that. Now, in the PvP for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Legends, it's kind of interesting because obviously if you just don't do anything for the week, you get a mystery pack, which is basically the reward you get every 3 hours. If you're in the Warrior Price top 50%, basically you're just starting out playing the game, and you're like level 5, 6, 7, 8, you would get a resource pack. Basically it gives you a little bit of mutagen, which is their currency. It would be power credits in Injustice Gods Among Us. You get a few greenbacks, maybe like 25. So consider that to be like Souls in Mortal Kombat X. The DNA is like what you get to upgrade your cards. Like you need 75 DNA to unlock a gold card. You would need 50 DNA to take a silver card from rank 2 to 3. So I think incorporating all of those would be pretty cool. And you also need a little bit of mutagen, also known as power credits, to evolve a fighter up to a higher rank in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Legends. So if you're going by that aspect along with Gods of Rome, both areas make sense. Obviously, you could farm higher battles, get some credits, and also farm materials for future guys, but I think it would be a pretty cool way to actually incorporate the game. Now, in top 10%, you get a bronze pack, which basically unlocks a fighter if you don't have them, or you get 10 DNA. In the top 5%, you would get a Shogun prize, which would give you a 2-star Mondo Gecko, or it could also uncap a bronze card to 4 stars, which is also pretty cool. And the top 1%, your Mondo Gecko would be a gold card at 3 stars, or you would get 75 DNA if you already own the card, but it would rank them up if it's not gold currently. So those aspects of the game I think are pretty sweet, and I really think that Injustice Gods Among Us needs to incorporate some elements from both of these games, and I highly recommend that if Ed Boon, Ragin, or any other admins from NetherRealm do not understand what these games are about, you need to spend about 30 hours in each game, and I'm not saying this to say fuck you Injustice. I want to see Injustice 2 be the premier game in the fighting world. And I think that by taking some of the elements from both of these games, considering that Injustice Gods Among Us is over 3 years old, keep their existing gear system or expand it, and say give multiple evolve ranks for 3 and 4 star gear, just to make it a little bit more challenging. I think that they could do a lot of benefit. I really hope that Ed Boon and other NetherRealm employees see this. So if you like this video showing off some of the strengths of Injustice Gods Among Us and what they need to actually borrow from, please give this video a like rating, comment, subscribe, share this video amongst your friends, and as a favorite, check out my other Injustice Gods Among Us videos playlist, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, which are all HollywoodShono. And once again, I think that Injustice Gods Among Us nailed PvP and gear, but they could do a lot of work on overall structures of fighters and battles. Have a wonderful day, kids.
www.youtube.com/HollywoodShono. Subscribe, bitches!